Welcome to the first episode of the Not the Play podcast. We have on our four main contributors Will Halstead, Connor Cranston, Jack Metzger, and Thomas Ryan. For episode one, we will be going over the NFL. We have a quote of the week. We will do a Bengals Browns recap, which will get a little controversial there. Then we'll go to college football. We have a World Series preview. And then we have college football rankings, and then we'll go into picks for the week, locks of the week. Here we are, ready to roll.
Wow.
All right, so our quote of the week. Jack Metzger, would you like to read it for us?
Got you. By Zach Rangers, of course. Norwood is not a big-time atmosphere. Purely a national-ranked Moeller team. Shouldn't be afraid to play a below 500 team on a neutral site. Let's try to do better, Mo.
Please.
I also threw in I had someone tell me I fell off. Ooh, I needed that.
You needed that.
I did need that.
Speaks for itself.
You know.
Should we get into the NFL the recap?
I think we should. So we can obviously start with the Bengals and Browns. A miserable Monday Night Football game. At least we have three Bengals fans.
Buddy.
Here we
putting
go.
on the Browns
There
hat.
we go.
I wanted to cancel the pod watching that last night. Truthfully.
Yeah, I was close to just leaving before it even
That was-
started.
Is Burrow fraudulent? Is he fraudulent? Is he an elite quarterback? Is he?
Oh,
Is he an elite
no.
quarterback? Can we
Bro,
confidently say that he's an elite quarterback?
He went to the Super Bowl.
He is an elite
He
quarterback.
goes-
It is his play calling that is holding him back. And
I
also
don't.
the loss of Jamar Chase is so big for the Bengals. So big. They don't know how to run their offense now.
I think Burrow is a fraud only when he's playing against the Browns.
I wouldn't say Burrow's a fraud. I would not classify him as an elite quarterback.
He's
in that
elite.
year.
He's elite.
I don't know.
He
I don't
took
know
the
if the
Bengals
he's-
to the Super Bowl in his second year. That's
He's
elite.
the best game managing quarterback. Not nothing flashy. Just manages the game better than anyone.
That's debatable.
I
mean,
think he's a top 5 quarterback, but when he plays, he just can't sustain a D line like the Browns. Like every time the Bengals have played a good defensive line this year,
Yes,
they can't get anything going.
I mean, that's partially the offensive line and the play calling too. Because when week one they played T.J. Watt and he destroyed them, and then they played the Cowboys and Micah Parsons destroyed them. So that's obviously the Bengals' kryptonite is just a good defensive line. So that's why I think these next 2 weeks we play the Panthers and then the the Steelers without Watt. So they should be 2 wins for the Bengals.
When I say he's not elite, I think he's a top 7 quarterback. I just don't think he's a top 5. Like I can name confidently right now who 5.
Who's your top
All
7 right now?
say it,
Let's
say
hear
say
it.
All right. So you got Mahomes,
Yeah.
Allen.
Yeah.
Fuck, who else? Did I take over him? I'm taking Deshaun when he's healthy. That's a hot take.
Get
that's
out of
unbelievable
here.
take. That's just not right. He hasn't seen
And
a field in 2 years.
If you look,
It's
all right,
terrible.
When Deshaun Watson's last full season played, he was an elite quarterback.
That was before COVID.
I don't.
Like,
It doesn't
think how
matter.
long ago that was.
It doesn't matter. I think if Deshaun Watson can get back to that self, he's better than Joe Burrow.
That's fair, but
There's
a lot that's happened between then and now.
That's fair. I think he's not right away. I think next year he's going to be a better quarterback than Joe Burrow will. Once he gets when he gets back and he has like 5 or 6 games to play with the Browns and gets used to the system and has a full off season where he can learn the offense and like be confident. I think he's going to have a better season than Joe Burrow.
But not right now. He's not better than
this
Burrow
year.
right now.
No, he isn't. You just can't.
You can't say it right now.
I
All right, who's your 4 though? Continue with your top 7.
I would take Lamar over Burrow. I don't think that's much of a
Right.
hot take. To lead my team, I would take him. I would take Herbert over him.
No.
That is
Not this year. He's not having a great year, but I still
Herbert's
I think-
I'd say you're
biggest
missing one
fraud.
big guy. Jalen Hurts. I feel like you would
Yeah,
take,
I know.
would
I-
take him over Burrow
Yeah,
right now.
But like, are we talking about this year or just quarterbacks? in
This
general?
year.
I would
This
take
year.
over Burrow. Yeah, then I can't say Herbert because he's not having that great of a year. But I would take Hurts over him for sure.
you have to put Burrow in your top 3. He's the leading pass yard.
But
Right
that
now.
doesn't. I don't. But
he's not top 3 in my
He's
opinion.
not top 3.
No, he's not top 3.
I feel
I
like
think
you have-
Josh Allen's been the best quarterback in the league.
Allen's one, Mahomes is
He's
2,
two.
and then I think it's either Lamar or
It's a toss
Hurts
up.
3.
Yeah. Yeah. But I don't know. I mean, I just think Burrow doesn't have as much talent as some of these top elite quarterbacks in the league. And Burrow's a winner. Like he just wins games, but
He
I don't
just
think
wins.
he has I think Herbert has more talent than Burrow, like just physically, like he's just a better quarterback, but Burrow knows how to win and knows how to manage games better than
See, this is what I've been tweeting on my burner, and I get so much hate for it. I tweet out, I'm like, if Herbert is so much better than Burrow, like if he's just better, then why hasn't he been to the playoffs? Like he's had a better team on paper. Last year he did, because you didn't know what Jamar was, and he was
Yeah.
dropping all those balls on
Yeah.
paper. And this year, everyone's saying they're winning the Super Bowl this year. I just
Yeah,
don't
that's
think he's a
fair.
leader at all.
Yeah, I
that's a
agree.
fair point.
I
That's
agree.
fair. But you also got to look at Burrow's like his receiver. Like he has the best 3 receivers in the league, and it's not really close.
That's fair, but like
Even if
look
they
at his
have
line.
the third.
His line right now is just it's destroying him.
He also Burrow. If you watch some of the some of the sacks are a lot on him. Like he has.
Oh,
I
yeah.
agree.
His
Yeah, I
pocket
agree.
presence is not
sure.
great.
Well, he just
Hey.
tries to extend it to
Yeah, which
way
is
too
it's
much.
fair. Like, yeah, I mean, he's gonna he's already learned a little bit. Like his
Mets.
pocket presence has gotten better, but yeah,
From
we
a
gotta-
Browns perspective, do you think the Bengals are a playoff caliber team?
yeah, I think they are for sure, and I think Zach Taylor's inhibiting that a lot. I think Zach Taylor needs to go. I've been saying that. I think Zach Taylor got bailed. He got bailed out last year by a great receiving core and by a great quarterback.
I
think
agree.
his play calling's like he's not a great coach. I don't think.
Is he on the hot seat?
I don't think you can be on the hot seat after taking the team to the Super Bowl, but I think he's as close to getting on the hot seat as like a coach that just the year after he went to the Super Bowl.
I think he's on the hot seat if the Bengals don't make the playoffs this year.
If they don't make the
Yeah, I agree.
playoffs, they need to look into it. I just don't know who else they would get. Like I think they need to have a set plan and they need to have they think a better coach than Zach Taylor, which I don't know if a better
I don't know
coach
who
than
that
Zach
is.
Taylor's on the market right now, but I don't know. Also
Yeah.
on the hot seat, I think Kevin Stefanski's on the hot seat. I know a lot of Browns fans think that as well.
Ooh.
Joe Woods is on the hot seat for sure. I've been saying fire him for ever since he got hired. But Stefanski, I don't know. Stefanski's a good coach, but some of his play calling raises eyebrows. Like case like when he did a double reverse Amari Cooper throw, first ever throw, and then like I don't understand why we ran that play. There's no reason to, but I don't know. I think he's a good coach, but I just think he definitely needs to be on the hot seat a little bit.
I agree, but it's hard to judge when your quarterback's Jacoby Brissett.
Yeah, that's
you're
fair.
gonna have to wait to see
You
what
have
it's
to
like
wait,
when
yeah.
Deshaun
Yeah.
comes.
I agree.
I agree.
And I think Stefanski's a great like he's gonna know what plays Deshaun Watson's gonna run, and we're gonna build an offense around him.
Yeah.
I think our offense is gonna be really good once he comes back.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
Do you think going back to the rest of the league, do you think the 49ers do you think they can win a Super Bowl with the team that they have now?
Not with Jimmy
Oh.
G. Jimmy G. I don't think Jimmy G is a Super Bowl winning quarterback.
It's Trey Lance, though.
I
think
disagree.
I think
Trey-
Trey Lance could not this year, not his rookie year, but I think Trey Lance with McCaffrey is going to be dangerous. I think that is going to be that backfield is going to be ridiculous.
I think the 49ers have a talented roster to win the Super Bowl, but
I think it's this
Jimmy
year.
G holding them back a little bit. They just traded Jeff Wilson, but they do have C-Mac. I mean, we'll get to our
Jeff
top
Wilson.
performers later, but C-Mac had a crazy week. Yeah, I mean, the 49ers definitely have that type of roster where they could make to the Super Bowl. I just think the Eagles are too good right now. I think it's theirs to lose.
I think the Eagles are going to lose first or second round.
Yeah,
I agree with Mets.
I think
I
they
don't
get
know.
bounced.
I think Jalen Hurts
Their schedule is like one of the easiest in the
It's so
league.
easy. It's
I
very
think-
easy.
The problem is if they get the 1 seed, who's going into Philadelphia and beating them? I
Tom
don't
Brady.
know who.
Yeah, I can see
Tom
that.
Brady just has to get in.
Fraud
Oh
talk.
yeah,
If Brady
Fraud
gets in,
talk.
he might go.
Brady will figure it out.
Like, he might go to the division.
And Brady's got a lot to play for now.
Yeah, I know. He's got a lot.
He's got everything to play for.
Yeah.
I don't think the Bucks figure it out. When you have Tom Brady in that mindset, dude, like Tom Brady's never been in a situation like this before.
That's fair, but he knows how to get. Like I think, what's his first time he's ever been under 500 in
Like
since he's
2
been in
games
the
under
league.
500 ever.
Third. Yeah, but I don't know. I think they're gonna figure it out. I think they do sneak in because the NFC. It's weird. The playoffs this year could be very weird. like what the NFC East could have 3 playoff teams. You just like it's tough. You
I
don't.
mean, if you look at the NFC, there's probably like 2 or 3 teams that stand out right now. Obviously, you have the Eagles.
I
Like, I
think the
don't know.
Cowboys stand out. And they're
I don't
playing
think
good football right now.
What
I think the
about
Giants are a
the
better team than the
Giants?
Cowboys.
I think the Giants are a hard team for me to figure out because I
Yeah.
don't. Daniel
I
Jones
agree.
is not. I don't think he's a good quarterback.
I think
Like,
he's one of the worst quarterbacks.
yeah,
Like
and he also has. They have no receivers. That's what's so weird. They've
They have
won this many
none.
games with literally just Saquon. Like that's literally it. Like I don't know. They're a weird team. I don't know how they're doing so well. Them and the Jets. I think the Jets are horrible. I think Zach Wilson.
The
one of
Jets
the
have
worst
a
quarterbacks in the league.
very
Might-
good rookie class, but
But I think
I don't
why
think
the Giants. To go
Zach
back to the
Wilson's
Giants,
not. Zach Wilson's not bringing the Jets to the playoffs. I'm
No.
saying that right now. He's just not good enough.
I think
Just needs a
part of the
bomb.
success of the Giants right now is just purely because of Brian Dable. Like
No, Brian
he comes
Dable's a
in-
great coach.
He's a very good coach.
comes in and just changes that tremendously. Like it's insane.
Yeah,
I didn't mean to go back to that, but
I think for coach of the year, it's either Dable or Pete Carroll, honestly.
or
Yeah.
the
Carroll's-
O'Connell.
that Seahawks-
Forget about the Vikings here. O'Connell. I mean, they're 6-1 right now, right? Or is it
They
five?
are,
hard to-
but
it's hard to lose when you got Jay Jetta. Jay
You
Jetta's
got Kirk Cousins at quarterback.
you think Kirk Cousins is going to win a playoff game?
He's done it.
I don't know about
Yeah.
that.
Did it
Should we get
against the
into-
Saints.
Yeah.
Never forget.
Should we talk about the Sunday night game a little bit too? The Bills Packers 27-17 Bills.
I'll just start it off. Rodgers needs to retire. This is it. This is the year.
Yeah,
it's-
I mean it's
I mean,
hard for him.
he
He
has
has
no
no
talent around
weapons,
him.
especially Lazard was
Yeah.
hurt. He had no one to throw it to. But I want to talk about the Bills. I don't know who can beat the Bills.
I
The
think
Bengals
are
probably
Super Bowl
would.
champs.
That's just something they would do.
I think Bills are winning the Super Bowl this year. and
I
don't
agree,
think it's
yeah.
gonna be close. I think they
Yeah.
just have the best team. Josh Allen I mean, we've already seen it last year when they played the Chiefs. Like he did everything he could to win that game, but Patrick Mahomes just did more. So I don't know. I think they got a way better team this year than they did last year. Von
Yeah.
Miller's a stud. That was a huge pickup for them. Their defense is looking good. Their offense is looking good. So I don't really see who's beating them at all.
I don't
And-
know who's beating them.
I think they're going to be playing at home for the whole playoffs too, and I don't see the Chiefs going in there and winning.
I think the
Bills are
Chiefs
really
is
good.
tough. Like, I mean, they obviously got Kelsey and they got like Juju and like MV, but like I think the loss of Tyreek Hill is going to be huge for them because like I mean they're playing well right now, but you can just tell that the receiving core is just not. It's not as good as it was because that loss of Tyreek Hill that means a lot to Mahomes and the
Yeah.
Chiefs.
But
Yeah,
Mahomes is just
they're-
also just a freak, dude. Like he always figures some way to win. So you really just can't count the Chiefs out, obviously. I mean, I
Yeah.
honestly see the Ravens. I feel like they could make a run in the playoffs. I mean, they're adding.
You just got
good talent.
Roquan.
Yeah,
When we're recording this, what was like 2 hours ago? They just got Roquan Smith. I think that's going to be a huge buff to their defense.
Yeah, it
Like,
will be.
solid.
I mean,
You don't
and
think
then
so?
I mean, they signed Marcus Williams, and everyone thought he
Yeah.
was going to be a great safety. Kyle Hamilton. I mean, I haven't heard his name
No, he's
at
not really.
all this
yeah, he
year.
isn't.
I mean, the Ravens always make these big
Yeah,
big moves, and it's just like I don't know. They never seem to necessarily work out. Plus, Lamar needed weapons, and they just
didn't.
never give it to him.
Yeah,
He has got Rashad Bateman and Mark Andrews is obviously second.
Yeah.
I think he's the best tight end in the league.
I
But,
think I just read somewhere Bateman's out for like a few more weeks. His foot.
and isn't
thing was-
JK out? Isn't JK out for the year?
I know he's hurt right now.
I don't think he's out for the year. Let me correct that. though.
I need to know that. That's another Ohio State scumbag. But can we talk about the Commanders for a second?
Taylor
Is-
Heineke is frisky.
Is
He is
Heineke
frisky.
The winner.
is he a top 15? Are we
No.
ready to have that conversation?
No.
No.
He is
I'm
9
taking
and
him over
8.
Goff.
I,
I'm,
dude,
taking, I'm taking him over
Taylor-
Goff.
Taylor
let's say,
Heineke's 9 and 8.
I'm-
as a
I'm with you,
quarterback
Austin.
of
I
the
honestly
Washington
think-
Commanders.
I think that he might be top 15. If not, he's right there because I'd take him over Brissett 1000%.
Oh, yeah,
Jacoby
yeah,
Brissett's
for sure.
horrible. Take him over Zach Wilson. Taking over
Daniel
Mariota,
Jones.
Daniel Jones. If I had a list of quarterbacks right now, I
Andy
can
Dalton. I would take
Yeah,
Taylor
that's fair.
Heineke over
and over
Dalton.
Jameis Winston. I would take
Yeah.
Taylor Heineke over Winston.
Derek Carr. Ooh, I'm taking Heineke over. Like
Derek
crazy
Carr?
take out. of it.
Derek Carr doesn't try to make a play. Heineke's always doing something.
I'm taking Heineke over Tannehill every
Although-
day.
If you put Taylor Heineke in the Raiders offense, I could probably see them having a better record.
This week, Derek Carr did not get the ball past the 50-yard line as the quarterback this week.
That's crazy.
That's absurd.
I mean, they got it past the 50 with 3 minutes left in the game, but they had the backup in, so Carr did not do it. But I mean, Taylor Heineke, he's 9-8 as the starting quarterback for the Redskins/Commanders. He's been there for both, and football team, which is crazy to say. The last one person to do that was Alex Smith, I think, with an above 500 record for them. So I
Probably
mean, that's
right.
impressive.
That was a gritty win in
It
Indy.
was. I just don't think the Colts are any good, though. I think Frank Reich is going to be fired soon, if not after the year.
It's hard to lose when you have the best offensive line and probably like a top 3 running back, I would say.
But it's like not
agree.
like it's not even like a top line anymore. Like
Yeah.
their like running like offense is like last. It's like horrendous. I have Jonathan Taylor, so I know. Like it's so bad. I don't know what happened to him.
All right, recapping the Dolphins-Lions game. Do you think now that Tua's back, do you think the Dolphins are going to make a run in the playoffs?
Yes. I am a big
You're a
Dolphin
big
supporter
you're
right
a
now.
big Dolphins supporter.
They're undefeated when Tua plays a whole game. They just made some trades at the deadline. I think they're going to be really good.
I think it's hard. I think it's hard not to be because like Waddle's playing absurd this year and Tyreek. I think they're both in the top 5 for receiving yards, and they didn't have Tua for what, a game and a half, 2 games. They had
2 games.
Yeah.
Teddy Bridgewater and that other. I don't even know the
I
other.
don't even
dude's
know who the
name.
guy is.
Oh,
Yeah.
it was Skylar
So-
Thompson.
Yeah, it's got And so the fact that they have 2 receivers in the top 5, they have a solid defense. I think they're making the playoffs. I don't know if they're a Super Bowl. I wouldn't call them a contender yet. Maybe next
Not
year.
yet.
I can't call them that, but I think they're for sure. I think they're probably going to make the playoffs. I don't know. The Bills are obviously going to win that.
Yeah.
But
This is my prediction for them. I'm gonna make a hot prediction. They'll make the playoffs. It'll be like they might sneak in 7 seed because they're in a tough division this year.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
that division's hard. So 7 seed, they sneak in. Bills get 1 seed, Chiefs 2 seed. They have to go into Arrowhead for the wild card, and they're just gonna get bounced.
Yeah, I see that.
That's
Yeah.
fair.
That's
I
fair
could
to
see
say.
them playing like the Ravens, though, in a 3v6, and I can see the Dolphins beating the Ravens.
I could see
They
that,
played
yeah.
earlier in the year that game in Baltimore. That was an absolute shootout. In the
Yeah.
second half, the Dolphins owned them.
Yeah.
And now they
Playoff
just
Lamar.
added Jeff Wilson and Bradley Chubb. That's going to be hard for teams to beat them.
And if you go back to the coach of the year, if you go back to that I don't even. I'm not even gonna say it. I'm not even gonna say it. Controversy. Jesus, I think Mike McDaniel's up there too, dude. Like comes in his first year. Like I mean, obviously he has probably the most talent out of all those teams that we talked about earlier. But
Yeah. Also,
Yeah.
I mean, it's his first year. Like usually, like I don't know who won the coach of the year last year because 2 years ago it was Stefanski. Who won it?
Titans.
Yeah, it was Vrabel.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I mean, a lot like if you can come in your first year as a coach and take your team to the playoffs that historically has been really bad. I think that because same thing with Stefanski. When Stefanski took the Browns to the playoffs, he had a great coaching year and he won coach of the year. So I think it's very similar this year to what McDaniel's doing in Miami.
Yeah.
Breaking news: the Bills traded for Naeem Hines,
That's not
and
doing
I mean,
anything.
Interesting.
that's another running back, pass catching running back, just for
They don't
Josh
need running
Allen.
backs. They don't need running backs.
They were looking at one. I mean, it's interesting. They just have more weapons.
It's
now.
not Kamara.
Yeah.
It's
Wait,
not
where did
Kamara.
Naeem Hines go?
The Bills.
Dude, I think I don't know because I know the Bills were interested in Kareem. I would like to see what they were offering because I was hearing reports that they were getting like a 4th rounder for Kareem, and that's just stupid. I think you can't take a 4th rounder for Kareem. I think he's better than that. But I think Kareem on the Bills would be really scary.
Yeah,
If they
I
somehow
agree.
got him, but
Yeah.
not anymore. But I think he would have been really good on the Bills.
I think Josh Allen's just so dominant in the pass game. I don't even think you could give him the worst running back in the league, and I don't think it would affect him honestly.
Not at all.
All right, so we're gonna move into our top performers from the the week, we have first Christian McCaffrey, as I alluded to earlier. He threw a touchdown, he caught a touchdown, and he ran for a touchdown. I mean, that's unheard of. And
In your
yeah, the
second week of
dude's
the offense.
a freak athlete. And second, we have DeAndre Hopkins. Second week back, he had 12 receptions for 159 yards and 1 touchdown. I mean, he silenced the haters who were saying he was old and washed. I mean, he's a top receiver again. And then Alvin Kamara had 62 rushing yards with a rushing TD and then 96 receiving yards and 2 touchdowns. I mean, he's on my fantasy team, and he single-handedly won me my game against Mets this week. So
Yeah, no, fantasy was so weird this week because I saw people that put up 170 and lost. Like fantasy was crazy this week. There were so many big performers. These are only 4, but like there was so many that like
This is
like crazy.
This was like the first week I feel like offenses like finally started to just go crazy in
Mhm.
fantasy because I
Yeah,
feel like fantasy all year has been low scoring.
Yeah, it's been weird. Fantasy has not been a great year, but this week was absurd.
Yep, and then last one we'll touch on is AJ Brown. He had 6 receptions, 156 yards, and 3 touchdowns. That connection with him and Jalen Hurts is one of the best in football right now. And if you have them stacked in your fantasy lineup, I mean, that's a lethal duo.
Yeah, that's absurd.
I really thought the Eagles were going to be bad going into this year. Really
I
thought
agree.
Jalen Hurts was a fraud, but
No, I can
wrong.
see it. Yeah, I can see that.
I think like I don't know what, but like Jalen Hurts, I don't know what he did this offseason, but the transformation between last year and this year is just absurd. Like
He's just a
he's
different
a
breed.
different player. And
Yeah.
I think a lot, it was Sirianni's their coach, right?
Yep.
Yeah, I also think he might be also coach.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard
Yeah.
not to. Yep.
I mean, like his offense that he created for Jalen Hurts, like it's been insane this year.
I
Although
think-
they're not playing a great schedule, they're not playing any really difficult teams, but still they're putting up a lot of points every week.
Like when you craft your offense around a quarterback like Jalen Hurts and let him do his thing, that's when you're just getting success. Like that's why I think the Bears are just like a fraud. I think the Bears are so bad in my opinion. I don't think Justin Fields is the guy. Hall said you can allude
Yeah,
to that.
just another Ohio State scumbag. I mean, the list goes on and on with that place, but continue.
The Bears the past 2 weeks have looked a lot better. with
I have
Justin
to say,
Fields.
they have
the
an
last 2 weeks they looked a lot better, and they traded for Chase Claypool today, which
That's
makes
right.
their
Second rounder,
offense
that's
a
horrible
little
trade.
interesting. They're frisky in my opinion.
Oh, I would not use
I would
that. I would
not
not
use
use
that.
that word with them.
No.
They're not frisky.
They're gonna beat someone at the end of the year, and
Like, you
like
think?
I think they'll probably beat the Vikings.
yeah, somebody like that they'll beat.
But it won't
That's
matter.
my-
We're not-
that's
It
my
won't
definition
matter.
of
It'll be like, oh,
Exactly. That's
Yeah.
my definition of frisky. They're gonna beat someone.
They're going to be. I think. Let me look at their schedule.
They
right
play
now.
the Vikings in week 17 at home.
Yep.
They
That
can
could be-
they can win that game. They play the Eagles at home.
I could see them. They would do something.
Either
like
of
that.
those I could see.
if they beat the Eagles, I would just lose all
Like,
hope in
I
mankind.
can totally see just a bad weather game at Soldier Field. I can see the Bears pulling one off just like they did week 1.
Also, the Bills at home for them too.
Yeah, I just don't see the
No,
Bills
no,
losing.
no,
They're
no.
too good.
It would be the Vikings week 17.
Their schedule, looking at it, is extremely hard for the second half of the year. They got the
Okay.
Jets.
Dolphins.
I mean, you got Aaron Rodgers. I mean, obviously they're not very good this year, but you still got A-Rod.
Yeah.
Aaron Rodgers
Eagles,
owns
Bills.
the Bears.
Vikings. Oh my, yeah.
They last week they lost by 20 to are the Cowboys good? Are they? Do you think they can contend in the NFC? I don't really
No.
see that they can,
No.
but they looked really good last week. So Tony Pollard also another fantasy stud this week.
Yeah.
Yep.
Casual 40, but I don't know. We'll see what I'm not a big Cowboys fan, but I think they're deep. I think they're pretty good.
I think they're very overrated. They have a great
agree.
defense. Don't get me wrong, but I don't think Dak is the guy.
Same
I
fraud.
really
Fraud.
don't. Yeah, fraud. That's another fraud.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think Dak can lead them to a Super Bowl, but they have the defense that can. So
We'll
it's
make the playoffs.
they will definitely make the playoffs. It is interesting to think about, but
Who's going to win
We-
that? Eagles, yeah.
we can go to our fraud watch now. Will, do you want
I
to
like
kick that
this.
off for us?
Well, I'll probably start out with my first fraud. Obviously, Ohio State. You can see the background if you're watching. Ohio State made a very competitive game against Penn State, who has another fraud at quarterback, Sean Clifford. I hate to say it.
Even though
I love Sean, but just not the guy. And he was playing pretty good against the best defense in the nation. I mean, that game was competitive until 5 minutes left in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
I have a question for you, Halstead. Would you rather take Will Levis or would you take Sean Clifford? Do you think if you put Will Levis in Penn State on the starting quarterback, do you think they're doing better than what they do right now? Really?
Oh, disagree. Dude, let me talk about that. Kentucky, when they played Tennessee this week, I think Sean Clifford would have kept them in a competitive game.
No.
Will Levis threw
if you look at their
zero
stats,
touch.
Will Levis played horrible against
It's terrible.
Horrible.
Yeah.
Like,
But I just think that's
not
just a
good
testament
Tennessee
to how good
defense.
Tennessee is.
yeah.
But their defense isn't that good, though. Ohio State's defense is much better than Tennessee's defense.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I can see why you say Ohio State is a fraud, because if you look at the game against Michigan when Penn State played them,
They
Michigan
wiped them.
Yeah.
Our game was like competitive for one quarter, maybe.
Yeah.
Another fraud. CJ Stroud. I could play quarterback, I think, in Ohio State's offense, and I still think I could lead them to a New York Six Bowl. I think like Marvin Harrison is so good. It is like that guy gets open no matter what.
Yeah. And they always have good receivers. Like you see it in the NFL.
Yeah.
I can't name the last Ohio State quarterback that's been like, wow, he's really good in the NFL.
No, none.
Justin Fields has not really done much. I mean, he has a horrible offense, but still.
Joe Burrow.
No, that doesn't count. If they want to count,
consider him.
no, that's another thing I hate about Ohio State. The fans will try to claim Joe. That's not them.
All right, let's move on to the NFL frauds. Halstead, who do you got at number one?
Number one NFL fraud has to be Tua Tagovailoa. I mean, did you see the amount of underthrown balls to Tyreek Hill this week? There were at least 3 that could have been touchdowns.
Yeah.
I mean, there were 10. I mean, I didn't realize how good Tyreek's hands were. I mean, he was making some pretty contested catches this week. But I don't know.
When Tyreek comes back for those underthrown balls and just jumps so high, it is a freaky athletic move. It's insane.
Crazy.
And it's like a lot of people like they don't realize that most quarterbacks are going to do well in that offense just because you have Tyreek and Jalen Waddle. Like, so like it's kind of hard to judge. I don't think Tua's the guy. I think if they had a better quarterback, they could make a deep run in the playoffs. But I just don't see Tua as a playoff winning quarterback. I agree.
Yep.
Like, I don't know.
I agree.
You have the Vikings on here as a fraud, Halstead. I don't see that at all. I think the Vikings are legit.
Kirk Cousins is not.
No, he's not. But I don't know. It's tough with the Vikings because
you've got the number one wide receiver in the league on your team. It's hard.
Yeah.
It's hard to compete with that.
Yeah.
I really like their head coach. I really think O'Connell's doing very well there, obviously, but Vikings at 6-1 just doesn't sound right.
No, it doesn't at all.
And then they're probably going to win that division.
Yeah.
I think if you have the Vikings on here on Fraud Watch at 6-1, you have to put the Bengals in there on Fraud Watch, and that's coming from
I agree. I agree.
Yeah.
Last night showed it.
It's so weird though because and I'm gonna bring up the Falcons game, even though Burrow had an insane game, but the Falcons secondary was completely depleted.
Oh yeah.
They have these games where honestly it's different with the Browns, but when the Browns week 2 when we played the Steelers, we looked really good. Really, really good. Our whole team looked good. And then we play 4 or 5 weeks in a row where we're just absolute dog shit. And then you lose all hope. And then the next week we beat the Bengals. And the Bengals are probably gonna do the same thing. I think next week they're gonna have a great game. They're gonna look really good. But I just don't see them sustaining that for the whole year. They need to figure it out soon or else it's not gonna happen.
Yeah, I tweeted on my burner. They have a lot of soul searching to do.
They do.
My guess is they'll sneak in 7 seed.
Yeah.
Maybe get bounced.
I'm disappointed the Bengals did not make any moves today. After Awuzie was ruled out for a year, not getting a defensive back.
They're putting a lot of trust in Dax Hill.
Yeah, I think he can be good, but I just don't see
him. He looked terrible last night.
He had one bad play.
But I don't know, dude. I think what they could have done if the Bengals had that much trust in Dax, then you gotta get rid of Jesse over this period and then get someone in a good caliber for that. Like
They
That's
will.
so bad. It's not like I think Jesse Bates is arguing over money. Like he has no right to ask for that.
I
much.
agree with that, Matt.
No
I agree
right.
with that.
I mean, he just like he was good. What like last year he was pretty good.
he was
Yeah,
good in
last
the
year he had a
playoffs.
down year.
The playoffs, he looked good in the playoffs.
He
Yeah.
did. Yeah, he
He
did.
did. He had a big that first play against the Titans. I remember
Electric.
that was crazy.
We were all we were watching it together. That was a great
Yeah.
game.
That was a great game.
Great game.
Yeah.
I remember when we heard the people outside
yeah, that
react
was-
before, and we were like, the Titans just
Some cra-
scored on the first
yeah.
play, and then we got an interception.
Yeah.
That's
fun.
crazy. All right, so now we can move in to or we can go to college football first. We can do our top 6. You guys want to go from 6 down to 1 or 1 to 6? How do
You
you
got to
want
go
to
6
do that?
down to
It's-
1.
So
I
you gotta
think
go
it's
6
1.
down to 1. Yeah.
All right.
You want to start off, Tom?
Sure, I'll go for it. So for my 6, I have the TCU Horned Frogs. They're undefeated in a competitive Big 12 this year.
Yeah.
And if they go undefeated for the rest of the year, I can see them getting in the playoff for sure.
100%.
5, I have Alabama Crimson Tide. And they're, in my opinion, they're probably the 4th best team in college football. I mean, they're very good. That loss to Tennessee was a heartbreaker, but very good game. I have 4, the Michigan Wolverines. That's just going to come down to when they play at the Shoe against Ohio State.
Yeah.
3, I have Tennessee. They're red hot right now. And then 2, I have Georgia. And then 1, I have the Ohio State Buckeyes, which
You did
also
not
will
put
not
the
agree
in front of
with.
it. Why'd you say the?
It's trademark
That's
now.
just-
They have
Good
the
point.
best defense in college football. They have the best 2 receivers on the same team. They have Harrison, Smith, and Jigbo, who's coming back soon.
Yep.
Stroud's a number 1 overall pick. Ohio State's really good.
You think he's number 1?
That's a crazy take.
I don't know about
Who's
that.
going number 1 over him?
There's probably some defensive player I haven't heard of yet.
Hmm.
Honestly, I don't know.
Hmm.
I'm
Will
taking
Levis.
Bryce Young over Stroud. Like
Oh,
every
I am
day.
If the
too.
Houston
too.
Texans get the
I'm too.
first pick, they're picking Stroud.
Bryce Young.
All right, we'll see when the time comes.
Bryce
but-
Yeah,
I
we
think
will.
it's so
Yeah.
hard. I think if I was an NFL GM, it's so you just can't overlook the fact that Ohio State quarterbacks are not good in the NFL. Like, you
Yeah,
just
no.
can't
Exactly.
look over
They
it.
all have not.
What
turned out well
does
in
Stroud
that first-
do? What does Stroud
Differently
do?
than-
Yeah, what does he
Yeah.
do? What's
I
special
was-
about Stroud?
I was
What's
at the
different than Stroud
game.
than Justin Fields right now, Tom?
I was at the game when Ohio State played at Michigan State, and I've never seen a team that was so fast and so big.
Maybe
And
it's just
Stroud
Michigan State
just
that's
threw
slow.
absolutely dimes. I've seen some college football games this year. Ohio State's really good, and Paris Johnson's a top 10 pick too,
Yeah.
probably, which is
Dog.
crazy.
Shout out the Bombers.
Ex Bomber going to the
He doesn't-
top 10.
he doesn't-
Not
Doesn't-
really.
Yeah, we
I
can't
mean,
Not
consider-
really.
That's like
Dude,
the
did you
Joe
guys-
Burrow. That's like the Joe Burrow Ohio State.
Yeah, it
You
is.
know-
Yeah,
No,
Did you
Paris
know
went to
that
X
when
for
we-
3 years.
I know, but it's different because did you know when we played at Elder at Mason our sophomore year, Paris he was at the game and he was in the Elder student section.
Are you
I have
serious?
2 buddies that are in my college. They're on the 2nd floor above me, and we were talking about that. And they were saying that Paris, because he was over on our side for a little bit, and then he worked his way over there, and he was in the Elder student section. Like
Let me talk about my Paris Johnson story if we're talking about this dude. All right, freshman year. I don't know like any of the football guys. He sends out this group me message like, "Yo, who's got NCAA football that I can rock with the OSU?" I hit his DMs. I'm like, "Yo, I got the game. Like, you give me $20, I'll give it to you." He sauces me an Instagram follower too, so I'm big time. Go to meet him at Flex. End up finding out the game a couple days later is worth like $400.
yeah, you didn't know that.
No, I just got sold to Paris Johnson, but I got the Instagram follow, so shout out to me.
Yeah.
All right, my 6, I got Clemson, but I will consider them a fraud. What do you think about that? I think
I
they're
agree.
a fraud.
Yeah. Yeah.
DJ's a fraud.
Yep.
Fraud. 5, I got the Crimson Tide. They're just a good team, but I think my number 1 is going to be better. 4, you got the Buckeyes. I don't think they're legit. They'll make the playoff. I don't think they're legit.
Yeah.
3, I got Michigan at 3. I think Michigan's offense is lethal. You got 2 of the best running backs in
do you
college
think-
football.
Do you think who do you think wins last game of the year? Do you think it's Michigan or
I think
OSU?
Michigan
It's
does.
Michigan.
I think.
So
do you
then I
think
don't
OSU
think Ohio State's making my playoff.
Yeah,
win.
because it
Yeah.
always comes down to that. Because the Big Ten, when's the last time they had two two teams in the playoffs. I can't really.
I
remember.
feel like this would be the year
You think so? You think?
because
I think
it's close,
it's
maybe.
hard.
I-
It's so hard to put like because I think Clemson probably goes undefeated.
Yeah.
I don't know how you put undefeated Clemson in over a one-loss Ohio State.
Yeah.
I don't know how you could do that.
And the
I think
losses that
it's-
Clemson's,
Mhm.
the wins that Clemson's have had are just like are not big. Like that
Terrible.
Syracuse win, oh my God, that was so bad.
What about this situation? Tennessee loses this weekend to Georgia. Ohio State loses to Michigan. Who's getting in, a one-loss Tennessee or a one-loss Ohio State?
One loss Tennessee.
Honestly, but
Yeah, it's got to be Tennessee because they beat
I
Bama.
agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
they have a way harder schedule.
They
than
do have
Ohio
a
State.
tougher
Exactly,
schedule. I agree.
But also, I think it's different. I think if Michigan goes undefeated and they lose to Ohio State, I don't think they get in. I think it's like the playoff voting system. I think it's so rigged because Ohio State will always. I think if Ohio State loses, they get in. But if Michigan State loses, I don't see them getting in. Like I don't see Michigan losing to Ohio State and then going to the playoffs.
That's fair.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I mean, we'll see when it happens. I personally have Michigan in that game. I think Michigan is just a better overall team than Ohio State.
Mets, I want you to guess the spread in that game. I looked this up. I was shocked.
It's at the shoe.
Is
So
that the shoe? I was
Right
shocked
now,
by this
I think we
line.
should all go around.
now.
I think we all should. Go
I know
around.
the line. I was shocked.
okay. I'm taking OSU minus 10.5.
Cranston,
I'm gonna take OSU minus 7.5.
Tom,
Yeah, I was gonna say OSU minus 9.5.
Mets, you were right on the money. 10.5.
10.5. Yeah.
Wow. That
I
is
I thought it was
so
gonna be
disrespectful.
closer.
It's Ohio. Like I just think people
Yeah.
if that's the line, I'm hammering Michigan. Like I'm
Yeah.
hammering Michigan. I
The
don't see,
home
money
the
line.
home field advantage
I'm
at
gonna
the
I'll
shoe.
sprinkle a little bit.
It is gonna be crazy at Ohio State that weekend.
Yeah, it is going to be wild because Ohio State that loss last year, like you can tell, like they just want to get to that
Mhm.
game. They have that bad
Yep.
taste. They haven't lost to Michigan in so long, and last year was just I don't know. I think it's going to be tough. I think Michigan covers that easily. I think it's going to go down. I think it opened at 10.5, but I could see it going down to like 6.5, 5.5, something along those lines when it gets.
That's
that.
just disrespectful to Michigan and what they've done this year. Like,
yeah.
obviously their schedule has not been as hard as some of these other top teams, but they're blowing out teams. Like their
Well,
offense is so good.
Michigan didn't play anyone for the first
Yeah.
3 weeks. They played like Colorado State. Like they
Yeah.
Hawaii.
Like
No,
that's
Hawaii
absurd.
and
They need
UConn,
Michigan they need to start scheduling better non-conference games because it's like it's gonna be hard for the voter. Like
It's
for-
like that next year too. Their first 3 games
Oh,
are very
it's terrible.
easy.
It's like they're playing like Ball State. Like I
Yeah.
think.
it's
All right,
not-
Mets, you want to
back to
go?
my two. I
You
got no.
you
My
gotta
two's
go.
my top two is controversial. At 2, I got Georgia at 2. I think Tennessee is the best team in the country, and here's why. I think Hendon Hooker is going to win the Heisman. I think their defense is not very good, and it will prove it this weekend against Georgia. But I think Tennessee's offense is so good, dude. I think their offense is 1, and then I got Michigan's offense at 2, and then Ohio State at 3. The only thing keeping Georgia up there is their defense. Their defense is the number 1 defense in the country.
it's fair.
Fair.
All right. For my top 6, I got TCU at 6. Like we said, they're a very good team. I think if they do make the playoffs, they get absolutely waxed because of how good college football is. But I could see them making it, and I could see them sliding. At 5, I got Bama. I think they're a really good team, but it's hard to overlook that Tennessee loss. I think they can still make the playoffs, but it's going to be hard for them. They're going to have other people to mess up. At 4, I got Michigan. Like I said, I think they're a really good team. I could see them beating Ohio State when it comes down to it. 3, I got Tennessee. They're a great team. I'm really excited. I'm be down in Georgia for the game. I might be going if I can find a ticket, but probably not. But it's gonna be wild down in Athens. And then 2 OSU and 1 Georgia. I think those 2 are really good. I think Ohio State is also really good, but I could also see them losing to Michigan. But I think Georgia's the best team in the country right now. I think it's really hard to look over them. Last year they're really good. This year they're really good. And I think they're gonna win it all this year, but we'll see.
Yeah. It's fair.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. Those are good rankings.
I
Will,
think
you want to get?
this weekend really just shows like
It's gonna be
Georgia's the best team in college
it's
football.
gonna be this weekend is gonna say a lot about these
It
teams.
will.
This
Because I think
weekend and the last week of college football will be the best 2 weeks in college football. You got this weekend, obviously Georgia, Tennessee, and then the last game of the
Yeah.
year, obviously
Yeah.
Michigan, OSU.
yeah.
Here comes fraud. Here comes
well,
fraud.
I can't wait
I
for
mean,
this.
I got a pretty normal 6. I was considering putting Ole Miss up at 6, but they obviously had a terrible loss to LSU.
Very bad.
Just horrendous. I had money on that. I really thought Ole Miss. I really thought Jackson Dart was going to be a dark horse Heisman candidate. He hasn't done anything. But anyway, Clemson at 6. I hate to, but you have to. Bama at 5. I honestly wouldn't be shocked if Bama won it all this year.
Yeah.
I think their defense had a terrible, terrible game against Tennessee, obviously. You know it's Nick Saban. You know he's going to clean it up.
Yeah.
Bryce Young is the best quarterback in the nation. Might win Heisman again. You never know. I think Will Anderson, that's a top 5 pick.
Dog.
I mean, that team has everything. They just had a bad loss against Tennessee that really they could have won very easily. And then I've got Michigan 4, Ohio State 3, Tennessee 2, Georgia 1.
Good list. I was thinking, going back to the Tennessee Bama game, I think like Neyland is like I never really realized it, but it's a hostile environment to play in. Like this year, it's been crazy. Like obviously they beat Bama, and then like pandemonium occurred, obviously. But like during the game, it just seemed like It seemed like such a hard place to play in. So I think if they play at Bama, I could see it easily going the other way. Easily. I think that home field advantage really helped Tennessee. And that's why I think today, like this weekend, I think Georgia beats Tennessee. Not because I just think Georgia's a better team, but Tennessee playing in that environment, I just don't see them really succeeding that much.
Yeah.
I've got a take about that game. Would you call that game the best game of any major sports in the last 5 years?
It's up there. It's got to.
Are you talking
about Bama, Tennessee?
Bama, Tennessee.
Yeah.
And with any major sport.
Absurd. It was crazy. I mean,
what can you argue with that? Like, I'm trying to think. I mean,
what year was the LeBron versus the Warriors? That was 6 years ago.
That was 2016.
Yeah,
that's
Game 7. That game
I would say that game would be up there, but it's too far away.
I think it's hard because with like sports, who'd the Rams play on Thursday night, that one game? Rams Chiefs? Yeah. That game was crazy. But it's hard because that game really didn't have that much important. Like it had importance.
Bills Chiefs.
The Bills Chiefs game last year.
That probably is. That's probably one.
That's probably one.
I would put the Tennessee Bama at 2 though. I think that game was
because I think that it's gonna have so much importance. And like the game 7, Game 7 LeBron against the Warriors, like that meant the most. I think it had the most importance, but like overall, I think that game was not as exciting as the Chiefs-Bills game and the Bama-Tennessee game, but it had more importance, if that makes sense.
Fair.
Should we go on to the locks?
Let's do it.
All right. Locks of the week. Who wants to start us off?
I'll start.
Yeah.
I got Colts plus 5.5. I think I don't know. I think the Colts, I think Sam Ehlinger is a very good quarterback, and obviously Belichick does so well against rookie quarterbacks. Like they never succeed, but I think the Colts are going to cover, and I think they might win. I think the Patriots are not I think Mac Jones is not a great quarterback. Obviously, he's not a great quarterback, and I just see the Colts winning because I would sprinkle money line too. I think they're going to cover easily, and I think they might have a chance to win, but I'm really liking that spread this week.
Okay.
Crazy.
I got the Eagles minus 14. I think the Eagles you got to put them at 1 right now. I mean, obviously they're undefeated. They're playing the Texans. The Texans are top 3 worst team in the league. I think they're going to smoke them. I don't even think it'll be. I think they'll probably beat them by 20.
I agree. And the buzz. It's a Thursday night football game in Philadelphia.
Yeah.
The World Series is going on.
The World Series will be happening
that night. It's going to be mayhem in Philadelphia.
Philly's crazy right now.
And it's just the craziest. Like I hate to say it because I absolutely hate Philadelphia. I think it's the scumbag of the world. Like I hate
Nah.
He's gonna say
I love Philly. I love
Philly. You gotta love the fans.
They're so
passionate.
They're so
passionate.
good.
But
I would agree. Like I think Boston fans suck. I just think like the Patriots fans are so entitled. It's actually absurd. Like the fact that they have had so much success and like they're not even doing that bad this year, but the fans are freaking out. It's like, what do you expect when you have like Mac Jones as your quarterback and you have N'Keal Harry as your wide receiver? Like
when they're booing Mac Jones already, that's ridiculous in my opinion.
I think Boston fans are this is way off topic, but I think Boston fans are probably the worst sports in the
Let's just continue on that topic. Who's the sports scumbag of the city of the world?
Columbus.
I don't like Michigan Wolverine fans. I do not like.
Go blue.
Yeah.
No.
Well,
I gotta ride Philadelphia, dude.
You want to know the sneakiest scumbag fans? Tom, you're gonna love this. Xavier basketball fans have to be
that is
it is
Give me a break.
unbelievable.
That's actually a fact.
What
I'll
have they
agree.
ever won? Ever.
The NIT last year? That was huge.
I love the debates between UC basketball fans and
Yeah.
Xavier basketball fans are so entertaining to watch.
I'm gonna be getting into it this
because
year.
UC fans, they always they're like, oh, like we won an like what
Oscar Robertson
back in like the 40s. Like that's like me. That's like me as a Browns fan. Like we've never been to a Super Bowl, but before the NFL merger, we had the most championships. Like I'm not gonna bring that up because that's Jim Brown. Like that's so long ago. That's not even a relevant point anymore. So I hate when UC fans bring that up.
The games at Cintas are electric, and Xavier has been running the crosstown shootout recently. That's not.
That's
really
like their Super Bowl. That's all they win.
Yeah,
that's all they win.
Xavier always has a couple huge wins at Cintas each year. They beat Ohio State last year. That was electric. This year they play Indiana at home. I can totally see that being an upset.
That's not going to happen, dude. IU's
very good, but that's just
IU's going to win the Natty.
Don't sleep on the Flyers.
Flyers
are nice this year.
They got a
dark horse.
Yeah, they're good.
Yeah. All right, but going back to Philly, I hate that city so much, but I really, really, really want the Phillies to win the World Series. Like, I absolutely hate the Astros. I hate to bring up baseball right now, but I love the Phillies. Even though I hate Philadelphia, I love
Bryce Harper too.
I love Bryce Harper. Is Castellanos.
He's having one of the best playoff performances ever. Like he's hitting what is his average right now, Tom? Like 400.
It's something like that. He's insane.
Okay, how about this? He doesn't win the World Series, but he still has his postseason run. Is he still a Hall of Famer? I think
Bryce Harper.
I think Bryce Harper is a Hall of Famer.
He's young still too.
MVP or 3-time?
I don't know. I don't think so yet.
I think it's hard. I think baseball is one of the easier sports to get in the Hall of Fame.
Oh, no way.
Yeah. No, that is not true at all.
That is the worst take I've ever heard.
The fact that Joey Votto might not get in the Hall of Fame is ridiculous to me.
Yes,
he better get in. He deserves to get in.
He will.
It's so the voters are like baseball. I take that back. It's not one of the easiest sports, but the fact that I'll bring Barry Bonds up. If Barry I don't understand how you even before he was juiced, he was one of the best hitters ever. And I think Barry Bonds is the best player in the league ever in MLB history. And the fact that he's not in the Hall of Fame is super, super disappointing. I agree. It's hard.
I agree.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna go to my lock. I have the Dolphins -5.5 at the Bears. The Bears just traded away Roquan Smith, and they gave up 49 points to the Cowboys last week. And I think the Dolphins are just gonna run up the score on them. That's all I have to say.
That's fair. That's fair to say.
Yeah, my lock of the week is Ravens -3 on Monday Night Football. Andy Dalton just can't win a primetime game. Simple as that.
I feel like that's such a terrible spread. I don't think the Saints are any good.
It's probably a trap play, but I don't know. Yeah. Coming from Cincinnati, watching Andy Dalton my whole life, I don't know how.
Yeah. And I'm going to explain this a little bit. So for our locks of the week, for each episode, we will all have one lock, and then we will do standings based upon the results of the locks, and we'll just keep track of that. And then we will also have one group parlay. Each of us will contribute one leg of the parlay, and then if you guys like it, you can place it on your own. So first, I'll place my leg of the parlay. Thursday night World Series, first inning, Nerfy, no runs in the first inning. Zach Wheeler's supposed to be on the mound for the Phillies, and then it's probably going to be Verlander for the Astros. I just think those are two good arms, and I like the odds of that happening.
All right. My legs gotta be Lions plus 3.5. I mean, they're so due. It's
Yeah.
unbelievable. They're so due.
That's fair.
Matt, you
I'll
wanna
go
go?
next. I think my leg is Tennessee plus 8.5. That's what I'm
I
getting
was
right
gonna
now.
do that too.
Yeah, I think I just looking at it like I think Georgia's gonna win, but I think it's gonna be super similar to the Georgia or the Tennessee Bama game where it's really gonna come down to who has the ball last. And I
Mhm.
think Georgia slips out of there, but I think 8.5's a lot, and I think Tennessee will cover that pretty easily. I'm thinking like a 34-31 game, Georgia.
Mhm.
Like that.
Also, did you take the Bengals? Did you
I
take that
took
one?
Lions.
Okay, I'm gonna take the Bengals minus 10. Obviously, they were horrendous last night, but you've got to figure it out soon. You're playing the Panthers. Like the Panthers are miserable. They're probably 31-32 in the league. I think the Bengals will have a shootout. I mean,
I'm
they will
seeing it's
smoke.
-7, not -10.
Mine says minus 10. Either way, it
Either
doesn't.
way,
yeah,
it's even
they're-
better.
They're gonna smoke them. I think they'll win by 20 plus.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
Lock.
Let's see how
Thanks
let's
for
see how
tuning
that.
in to the first
I think
episode.
yeah,
I want to get the I want to get the odds in that parlay.
I do. It'll
rock.
be interesting.
Yeah.
We can maybe post that later for our
Yeah, yeah.
viewers.
Yeah.
You get
See if they,
idea.
see if they like the odds.
Thanks for tuning in to the first
Yeah.
episode.
First episode of the Not the Play podcast. Thank you guys for tuning in.
It's only growing.
Yeah, we're only gonna keep growing, keep getting better, and we appreciate all you guys. Love you guys.
See you, boys.